Well, hello, I'm Dave Ford and this is Logan the Whippet out on another walk in the New Forest. Now today we'll be doing a short walk starting and finishing at the Rufus Stone monument, which is just on the outskirts of a little village called Brook near Cadnam in Hampshire. Now, as well as some quite beautiful woodland views, we'll be having a look at the Rufus monument itself and also possibly a visit to the local pub. So do join us. Logan, are you ready? Are you ready? He's ready. Let's go. Come on, fella. Well, we're going to start our walk by having a look at the Rufus Stone Memorial straight away, because it's just over the road from the car park and it's just behind me here. Now I know what you're thinking, it doesn't look as though it's a stone, but let's have a look at the details. It's a three-sided memorial, so let's quickly go through the story. So here stood the oak tree on which an arrow shot by Sir Walter Tyrell at a stag glanced and struck King William II, surnamed Rufus, on the breast, of which he instantly died on the 2nd day of August 1100. Moving round, part 2 of the story. King William II, surnamed Rufus, being slain as before related, was laid in a cart belonging to one Perkis, and drawn from hence to Winchester, and buried in the cathedral church of that city. And the final bit, come round Logan, that the spot where an event so memorable might not hereafter be forgotten, the enclosed stone was set up by John Lord Delaware, who had seen the tree growing in this place. This stone having been much mutilated and the inscriptions on each of its 3 sides defaced, go on, sorry, struggling to bend down here, this more durable memorial with the original inscriptions was erected in the year 1841 by William Sturgis-born Warden. Well, all very interesting, but you know, there's more to this story than meets the eye. Was it an accident, or was it murder? Well, let's look at some of the facts. Okay, in those long past days it was quite common to have hunting accidents in the forest. But hang on a minute, old Walter Tyrrell was one of the best archers in England, and just after the so-called accident he fled immediately to France, and whilst he always protested his innocence, and to be fair, he didn't really have a motive as such, he never returned to England. Also, apparently on the way to the Channel port he needed to have his horse reshod. When he did so, he asked the blacksmith to put the horse's shoes back to front to confuse his pursuers. But the problem was there weren't any pursuers. Old William II, or Rufus as he was known because of his red hair and ruddy complexion, wasn't particularly well liked. In fact, he was a bit of a nasty so-and-so. Folk reckon he was one of the worst kings of England. His younger brother, Henry, was pretty quick to seize the crown. In fact, his coronation took place only 3 days after William's death. He became Henry I. Actually, technically, it should have been his brother, Robert of Normandy, that should have got the gig, but Henry got there first. Whatever the story was, there have been quite a few murder conspiracies ever since. Oh, there's one other thing. Historians reckon that the whole thing probably didn't take place here anyway. It's more likely that William's death took place at Bewley, some miles away. But I guess if that's the case, they might have to rewrite a few history books. Hey ho, why spoil a good story? Anyway, less of this history lesson. Logan wants his walk. let's get going. Well, we've just come down a very pleasant little track, bordered either side by ancient trees and holly. We've come to something slightly unusual. Just turn the camera around, and as you can see, it looks like some sort of square fencing that's been done quite recently. And there's what, 1, 2, 3 of these squares or rectangles. Now my initial reaction was that perhaps it was to protect some sort of rare plant, or that there are no signs or anything, in which case it may well just be something that's been done by the Forestry Commission to just protect the path from being churned up by too much. But unless I'm being immensely thick, I can't think of any other reason for these being here. It just seems to be quite an elaborate way of closing off part of the path, and I must admit I've never seen anything like it anywhere else in the forest. I'm guessing that's what that must be. Who knows? Perhaps I'm thinking too hard. Right. Now, this looks interesting. It's very muddy, which is strange because we're filming right in the middle of August and everywhere else is bone dry. Okay, well, Logan and I are trying to find a way across this. We'll see you on the other side. Phew. Well, we made it through there without getting our feet too wet. In fact, there's a lovely little ford with some concrete, looks like sandbags. It's a shame it didn't go a little bit further back. We're now entering into the deep wooded area, which I suppose is your quintessential New Forest as it were. Now, which way are we going to go, Logan? We can go left or right? Let's go left. It is quite beautiful in here, the sun peering through the canopy, and we have this lovely feeling of peacefulness. It really is quite serene. Now, the well-known author C.S. Lewis, who's the chap who wrote the 7 children's stories of the Chronicles of Narnia, he came on holiday in these woods back in 1933, and it's reckoned that while he was going through these very woods, he got the inspiration for his Wood Between the Worlds, which Lewis described in his Magician's Nephew story nearly 20 years later. It's quite... haven't seen any ponies in here. I would have thought it would have been an ideal place for them to get some shade. Anyway, Logan's certainly enjoying himself, looking out for squirrels. Well, provided we don't get lost, we'll see you at the other end. Morning.
Morning.
Well, here's a sign that the English summer hasn't got many weeks to go. A lovely meadow, but the grass or hay is now being cut, all baled up, covered in plastic to make haylage. And in the very, very far distance I can just about make out a wooden structure, which I guess is for viewing deer. Peaceful. Oh, more blackberries. I have to keep Logan away from those. Anyway, onwards and upwards. Well, we can't really do a New Forest walk without having a look at a pony. So here's our fix for this walk. I'll turn the camera around. A real little cutie here. Not a New Forest pony, but I'm guessing some sort of Shetland perhaps. Munching away, keeping in the shade. Poor thing's got a few flies, which is always tricky for them at this time of year. Well, we'll leave it alone, and we've got to find a pub. Come on, Logan. Well, I'm delighted to say we've found the pub, and it's appropriately called the Sir Walter Tyrell. I'll just pan round. Lovely pub. It is a lot younger than it looks. Built in the 1930s. The original building was thatched, I believe. And just over to the right, we just pop over the road, that is the original pub that was called the Stump, because the landlady there had a wooden leg. I think it's been refurbished. They actually call it the old Sir Walter Tyrell by the looks of things. Lovely. Anyway, it's a boiling hot day. I'm thirsty, Logan's thirsty. There's a pub there. It'd be rude not to go in and have a look, just for research purposes. So we'll see you in there. Well, that's the end of our walk. As you can see, we've retired to the Sir Walter Tyrell pub and enjoying their hospitality and some of their ale. We hope you enjoyed our little walk around the area. It wasn't a long one, a couple of miles, something like that. If you did enjoy it, then please like, subscribe and put a comment down. Do join us for another walk sometime in the future. In the meantime, thanks for watching and cheerio. Oh, I'll try some of this. Oh, that's beautiful. Shame dogs can't have beer, isn't it? But I've got a sweetie for you. There we go. Cheers.